Hello. Welcome after a big pause. Welcome to another walking session. Tell what's on my mind. Walking session podcast episode. Mazmila here. I'm going to chat a little bit today about what I want to talk about, but also give you a little bit of a life update. So what I do want to talk about is the lies they tell us and how to stay true to ourselves. That is what we're chatting about. But also, I guess, a little bit of life and how I got here and why I'm inspired to talk about this. I guess first thing is first, what has happened over the last, nearly 6 weeks now is my puppy dog Dion. You've probably heard me talk about him before. If you know me, you know him. He was the catalyst for the whole reason as to why I did walk and talk therapy. So Dion and me had an accidental walk with a client, and it just started a trajectory of the whole thing, right? It led me to creating a purely walk and talk therapy focused business, developing walk and talk therapy, all of the above, right? And what has happened since then, after I sold that business, I was obviously missing walking with clients myself, and I toyed with the idea of walking session and almost recreating what I started with him, but just for me, and more so just maybe a solo trip of that. And then things got a bit busy, so I got extra people on board to help out with phone-based walk and talk. So I was the one walking in person and phone. They were mainly on the phone, and then things were going good. And then Dion passed away. He was nearly 12, and I felt really. I took a little bit of time off work when that happened. I don't know if you're a dog person, but it's hit our whole household. See, I can't even talk about him without tearing up. It's hit our household really hard. He's just family, and he has had such a big impact in, oh God, I was going to cry, my life, in our family's life. Obviously, he was loved dearly, and it was quite sudden. But on the work front, I felt really strange. I was in this strange place of being at work without him, when he's just like literally he's on my front page in my about story, because this all started with him. So it was really weird to be doing that thing that he was such a big part of. I don't know, it felt really, really weird, and I could feel like a shift happening. And then literally a week later, I got diagnosed. My face kept swelling up. Fun. Like a lot. And so I thought I must have some kind of allergy. And then, so literally like maybe 10 days after he passed, I found out that I've got quite a severe allergy to grass. And the irony of this is absolutely not lost on me. I literally preach nature and touching grass, and I'm out there every day. I am in between sessions with clients. I would have shoes off, laying on the grass, grounding myself. Like, that's how much grass I touch. And turns out I can't do that anymore. So I guess this is why I'm recording this podcast. That whole thing has sent me on a whole spiral of, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing that thing I love, and I'm helping people, and I'm building a business, and da-da-da-da-da, and now I can't do that one thing. My solution to that is obviously to move all my sessions to phone-based. It doesn't work for everyone, especially the young clients that I have. It certainly has worked for some people, so thank you for those clients who have stayed on. I really appreciate you. But I am in this little bit of a space of, shit, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do now? Because I cannot go into an office and work, because I, as Maz, who has been walking for the last 12 years, it just feels so wrong in my soul to do that. I like the phone-based stuff because a lot of my clients can still walk while we're doing our sessions, so that's been nice. But yeah, it's just been really tricky to navigate. And then also that as a business is a whole different thing to do, which I'm trying to work out. I also am feeling like, actually, I'm not going to talk about that because that's not good. Nothing bad. I'm just looking into the space of online therapy, and I just don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm not saying that the phone-based stuff doesn't work for me. It does. More how business is done in that space. I don't know how I feel about it yet. And then I'm also in this space where I want to create self-help for people, because I'm like, like I would like some other, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know. I'm rambling here. I'm trying to create something else in this space under walking session that feels right. So anyway, I'll get to that when I get to that. I'm in this in-between space, hence the title, The Lies They Tell Us, because I thought I had it all worked out. Turns out I don't. So yeah, everything's up in the air. I did not think that you get to your 40s and things are up in the air. I thought you get to your 40s and you know what the hell you're doing. And maybe that's just me. Maybe other people in their 40s know exactly what they're doing. Turns out I don't. I'm sure whatever the journey is that I will get there. But I just wanted to be authentic and transparent and share that part. Like everything is so, am I going to keep doing phone sessions? I don't know. Am I going to get a job? I don't know. Am I going to create something else? I don't know. Everything's a little bit up in the air at the moment. But yeah, I kind of wanted to reflect a little bit on if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and it's still not feeling right. Like, let's unpack some of these lies that we're told about success and happiness and what it means to live a good life, and then I guess what to do instead. There will be a bit of grief coming in. How physical is grief, by the way? That's a whole nother podcast that I need to do. Like, where are they? Why is it so final? Why am I pretending it's not happening? Right? All of that. But anyway, I guess let's just I want to talk about a few lies that are told to us in life in general. Forgive my ADHD moment there. Number one being is, if you just work hard enough, everything will work out. What a load of shit, okay? The truth about this is that, and the hard truth about this is that there's also like let's sprinkle in a little bit of research on this one. If you work hard enough, everything will work out. There's also like research on confidence, for example, is you do hard things, you put yourself out there, you do new things, you're brave, you go out there, you do it well, you build confidence. But also, you could be doing hard things, doing new things, putting yourself out there, doing it really well and failing, like sleep training. Hey, like if anybody's selling you a sleep training thing as a sure thing, they're full of shit, by the way, because your child's personality is going to determine a lot of this. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying routine is great. There's soothing things that help your kids, the noise machines, all that shit, good stuff. Still do it. Kids don't sleep. So that's not because I'm not quote unquote doing a good job. That's just because that's their personalities. So this whole thing that if you work hard enough at it, everything's going to work out. Maybe some of you maybe have a kid that maybe you haven't done those things for, and you'll do it for 6 weeks and then you sleep. And some of you out there will do 6 weeks of routine and sleep and nap, shush, all that. And it's not going to work. And it's not you. It's just your kid, right? Or, you might start or create a business. You might follow all the things step by step. You do it perfectly. But guess what? The market is not where it needs to be. What you're trying to sell is not what people want. That doesn't mean that you didn't do the business stuff good. It just didn't happen. Like sometimes business does take a bit of timing and luck, and it works or it doesn't work, right? So the truth about this lie is that life is uncertain. Effort definitely matters, but the control is an absolute illusion. I love it when people like go back and do the hindsight and then they're like, oh, I did this and this and worked. No, you could do that now and it might not work, right? Again, this is not like deterring you from working hard or chasing your dreams. I think that you would not be living in alignment or authentically to who you are if you didn't do those things. But I just want to point out that sometimes working hard is not enough. Sometimes there'll be someone else that gets the promotion over you because they know someone. It's got nothing to do with hard work. Been there, done that. All right. Don't want to sound bitter. Everything works out. Lie number 2, you have to find your passion to be happy. Do you feel like you have to be really passionate in life to be happy? See, this is, I guess, something that I've been really questioning with the whole Dion passing thing. I'm like, when I created the business that I sold successfully, significantly, impacted many lives, did well, 0 regrets, right? But I'm like, I built that on the passion of Dion because I wanted to spend all my time with him. I love going for walks and I love going to the beach. But I turned my passion into my work. So what has happened as a result that I didn't expect to happen is that because I was out there walking with clients and sometimes I would bring my dogs, obviously Ellie also, she's still around, thank God. Oh God, anyway, whole nother fear now unlocked. Yeah, like my passion became my work. So when I would get home from work, the things that would reset my nervous system would be going to the beach or spending time with my dogs, taking them for a walk. I've been walking all day. I've been at the beach all day. I stopped doing those things for me. So in a way, the things that make me happy became my business and my work. And yeah, I don't know if that was necessarily the healthiest thing to do. Again, no regrets. Everything happened how it was supposed to, but I don't know if that was the best thing to do. So I guess the truth on this one is that you don't really find meaning, you create it. You often just show up and you might not feel inspired to show up, but then that happens. It's a little bit like you want to have energy to go to a workout, but you might have to show up for a workout and create the energy, right? So I feel the same way about the finding your passion to be happy. I think what happens is that you rock up, you do some things, and like, for example, for me, there are times where I'm really tired because I haven't slept and I've got a list of clients that I'm going to see that day. Do I necessarily I always, by the way, if you're my client, always look at my client list and go, yep, this will be good. But there's definitely days where I'm more tired, but I still show up, and I always feel like afterwards I'm like, oh, yes, this has now unlocked something else or inspired something else that's going to be good. So do you have to find your passion to be happy? No. I also know people that don't necessarily feel passionate about anything and they're very happy. So you could also be someone who, like I said, you might just love your dogs and that makes you happy and it's got nothing to do with your work. Or you just enjoy the simple things like making a cup of coffee or spending time with your kids, whatever it is. Just know that you don't have to have this big, I'm passionate about blah, blah, blah. You don't need that to be happy. You can just be happy being yourself without it looking and sounding sexy. You can just be you. You can be boring. You can just be average and still be happy, just so you know. Line number 3, you should have it all figured out by now. I want to say no one has it figured out. I want to say nobody has it figured out. And I'm just going to kind of say that. I'm going to say nobody has it all figured out. I think that's the key, maybe. I think we all of us people, we have certain things figured out at certain different times, but life unfolds in seasons. So at one season in life, you'll have work figured out, then you'll have kids and you're trying to figure that shit out, but work doesn't seem as figured out, or you might have your really healthy health figured out, but then that's not, I don't think it's ever an arrival thing. I think that there's different pockets of life that you will feel like you have more figured out than not in different times of your life. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. There's different times where we have different things figured out, but you'll never have it all figured out. And that's okay. That's totally okay, because you should not have it all figured out by now, by ever. It's just a lie that you're told. I hope that makes you feel better. Line number 4, success looks like X. Money, titles, appearances. Success looks, that itself is a whole thing. But what I want to tell you, the truth about this is that if you live a values-aligned life versus what societal checklists are out there, that's probably the better way to go. So I know plenty of people that look successful and don't feel successful, or they can tick off certain things they've done and they still don't feel good enough. They're still chasing, what's the saying, striving and never arriving. They're constantly looking for the external, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make sure I'm doing this and hot girl summer and this car and this house and blah, blah. Okay? Success looks different for everyone. Success looks different times of your life. I think that the physical side of success, having X amount of money, cars, blah, 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 that you can see is just another, I don't know, is it a trauma response to wanting to have control when you haven't had much control in your life? Probably. And I think with this one, sitting with what you value is probably the greatest way, as I sip on my coffee, to find success. Like, youth is not success. Being rich is not success. Having it all together all the time is not success. I think success truly is knowing yourself, knowing what your values are, and being able to live up to them. So the cost of living by all these lies that I've just mentioned, I want to talk about, because if you're finding like, if I just work hard, everything will work out. Let's refresh them. If you find your passion, you'll be happy. You have it all figured out and you're successful on the outside. But maybe you've ticked a lot of this, or maybe you are ticking all these boxes, but you're still not feeling right. Is because the cost of trying to do it all this is really high. So the payment for all these things are things like the emotional toll, like anxiety and comparison and burnout. It's also a loss of authenticity and doing the things because you should, not because you actually care about them. You know, the obligation versus wanting to. And maybe you just feel off, but you can't explain why. I often hear people say this, like, I should be happy. I have this and this and this, because all they've done is cross-check checklists rather than followed what feels authentic to them. So let's talk a little bit about this. I kind of want to give you the solution. I don't want to just give you the, oh my gosh, what we were told and now it's all shit. Don't want you to be there. I want you to shift from this rigid way of being and what you know. Remember, you're a student for life, not for period. You're a student for your whole life. Shifting to flexibility and realignment. So living in values is not about rigid routines, although routines are helpful, right? So it's more about course correcting. So what I want to say here is, if you've valued hard work but it's not working anymore, then maybe it's time to reevaluate and course correct how life looks for you. So maybe you value your value that corresponds. So values and goals are not the same. Values are qualities of action. So a value is kindness, courage, growth, creativity. But see how that can still, a value is challenge. So hard work, so if you value challenge, but you fail at it, it doesn't matter because it's not a goal. You value a challenge. So if you value courage and you fail, it doesn't matter because you like to be a courageous person and keep trying. Does that make sense? And when I say doesn't matter, it's not like you put years of effort into something, you're like, it doesn't matter because I'm living in value. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's not this rigid way of, if I do X, Y, Z, then this is what's going to happen. You're more flexible, which is a strength, right? Like being flexible and accepting what is and going with it a little bit. You might also reach a point, say, for example, you might also reach a point of honesty. Let's say you've always been a business person and you're like, this is how I do things. And then you're like, actually, how I do things doesn't work because the world out there has changed, but I don't believe in AI. And for my particular business, let's say you are selling, I don't know, bloody software. I have to bring AI in. So maybe like, because that doesn't align with your values, that might be the point where you bow out and you go, this is me done now, because all these things that I thought I believed in, now we're bringing this next level thing in. I have to be honest with myself. For me to succeed, I need to embrace AI, and I don't want to, right? Or on the flip side, you might go, well, that will be my strength, that I'm not using AI. But I don't know, like, is it possible? So can you see how, like, it's a bit tricky, but it's also flexibility and just being honest with yourself about what it takes, quote unquote, to reach success. So if you're like a leader of a company, but like I said, AI is not your thing, but that's what's happening and that's where it's heading, then that might be a moment for you to go, is this aligned with my values? Do I want it? Don't I want it? And what's the price I'm willing to pay? Remember how I talked about, if you're living out of that alignment, there is an emotional toll it would take. There is a loss of authenticity. Are you willing to pay it? And how long for? Or do you need to do something else? So I guess a practical way to address this again is to ask yourself, what matters to me in this moment? Like, what's the right thing to do? Because you might just go, the right thing to do is not to embrace AI. I don't want this. What matters to me in this moment? And I think this is like really important, because then you might go, well, the reason why I started this is whatever the reason is. I'm going to assume that you're wanting to help people in a certain way, or you had your reasons, and then you go, well, what matters to me now though? What matters to me in this moment? Do I need to show up? How do I need to show up? Rather than fixing and changing it all, how do I need to show up? And maybe I need to pivot in this instance rather than have it perfect. Maybe I can't be without AI, but I'm not going to allow it to be my entire business. I'm going to allow it to be X amount of it, but this is how I'm going to make it person-centered, real people stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of like throwing out a really hard one there, because I'm talking about software, and I'm like, maybe that person that has embraced that is already like, don't care. But in the space like mine, like therapy, I mean, it's really, really hard, because I guess a little bit of insight into how therapy is working. A lot of these online platforms, it is becoming technical. It is becoming, because you're attracting clients online, so you have to be an online expert, I suppose. You've got engineers and tech people and marketing and where I feel like maybe old school psychologists, or I'll call myself old now, but that's okay. It was more about, this is the kind of practitioner I am, and this is what I'm about, and this is the kind of practice I'm creating, and this is what we're all about. These are our values. Well, literally now it's like, who's really good at spending money on ads so they can rank first and be found first and get in front of the client first, because that's the world we live in. And it's a little bit of a moment, I know for me, of, do I want to be part of that? How do I find myself within that? How much of that do I embrace? So this is like what matters to me in this moment. I don't have the answers yet. I'm just sort of reflecting, just as I hope some of you are, and just sitting with what my values are and how all of this new stuff aligns with it. The other thing I guess for me within this walking session stuff which is a little bit tricky, because I created this way of therapy for the point of the in-person connection, which I can't offer in a walking basis anymore. So, and I still believe in healing without sitting still and analysing the past. I do believe in moving forward with intention and taking those steps, literally. I still believe in that, and I feel like maybe there's space for something in between, maybe like a community I can create that is more self-help focused, where I am in your ear and you're going for a walk in your own time, listening to my way of doing things and what I believe in as a practitioner. Maybe that's where I'm heading. Maybe I'm answering that question as I'm recording this. So there's lies that we're being told. To sum it up, there's lies that we're being told. I think that maybe they got you to one point in life and now you're tuning in because they're no longer working. Now's the time to sit with your values. A really simple way to figure out what your values are. You might already know them, like it might be family and helping or whatever it is. You might already know some of your values, but if you don't, you literally can just Google a list of values and just see what sits right with you. So you might have 20 things that sit right with you. So I encourage you then to narrow it down to just 10, and then out of those 10s, maybe order them in priority, like what's most important out of those values, and maybe stick to the first 5 and start to make decisions based on those first 3 at the very least, right? If number 1 is being authentic, then maybe AI, I don't know, like how does that work for you? Maybe that is why. Maybe just getting clear on your values will give you some insight as to why certain things in your life right now are not feeling right. Like, for example, I don't know. I'm just trying to think what some people might be dealing with, right? Like you might be like, I'm an independent person, but I'm in a situation in my relationship or in my life where I'm not feeling that. And now I've just realized that independence is one of my values, and the reason why all this feels off is that I'm not getting enough of that, or whatever it is for you right now. So what I would like you to do, that if you've been chasing someone else's idea or definition of success, I want you to know that it's not your fault, that many of us have done this. But it's your responsibility. So it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to take a pause, to recenter, to move in the direction of what really matters to you, to do these little exercises. Like I said, this values one. I know it takes time. I know it's annoying. I get it, but trust me, it provides you the clarity that you need. So take a walk today and maybe ask yourself, what would this moment look like if I lived it from a place of value rather than fear, right? Or what is the one lie? What is the one lie I've outgrown? And what value do I want to live with instead? Just the one. Like out of those 4, what's the one line? One of them I've outgrown, or maybe your own lie. There's your own lies that are pissing me off right now. What is it that I've outgrown? And how do I want to live it instead? What's the value I want to bring in and live in instead, if that makes sense? All right, I'm going to leave that one there. I've got all the links in the notes. Let me know what you think. Probably we'll do a whole nother thing on grief when I'm in a better place and I can talk about that situation without crying. I think that might be more helpful than me just sobbing on a podcast. And keep walking. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.